Well, hello YouTube, and welcome back to the Daily Life on YouTube, powered by our friends over there in SoCal, Google. Yes, this show is brought to you by Google, and they're based in Southern California. That's where that euphemism came from. Now, today is Tuesday, September the 30th, and I welcome you to this 7th episode of the 2nd season of Daily Life. I'm your host, the star of the Daily Life, Tom Johnson. Now, I hope you enjoyed yesterday's show on breakfast. I thought it was pretty informative and enlightening. I talked about a lot of breakfast subjects: eggs, bacon, pancakes, waffles, fruit, yogurt, all these things. I talked about the difference between hot breakfasts and continental breakfasts. I talked about the difference between at-home and at-hotel breakfasts. One subject I didn't get into that I planned on was breakfasts at your friends' houses, but we'll save that for another day. Now, today, the subject that I would like to discuss with you about, as I sit here and text for a minute, is condiments. Condiments. No, not condoms. Condiments. Very different. Very different things. I mean, I could actually go get you an example of a condom versus a condiment, but that would require me to get up, and as you know, I never get up during these sessions because that would be disservice to the oil trends and oil friends and Truth Daily Life. I just got to show you something though before I go on. Now, how can I relate this to condiments? Sometimes if you go to a baseball game, and I'm going to be talking about ballpark food tomorrow as we continue our week on food. Sometimes if you go to a baseball park and you have, say, a burger with condiments on it, at your restaurant table, they have like the fancy restaurants where you can look over the field, they will have candles there at those restaurants. This is a candle, which I'm going to light briefly. Sometimes this takes a couple of shots. There we go. So if you're ever at a restaurant with condiments and candles, very important. Okay, now that I got that out of the way, so you're at your restaurant with your candle and you ordered a hamburger. Now, hamburger is probably the best example I can use for this, and you're going to see why in a little bit. You get your hamburger. Now, if it's a good fancy restaurant, they'll bring you the hamburger open. So the bun will be there, the burger will be there, and then here on the other side, bun, burger, and then here on the other side will be the other bun. But on top of the hamburger here, you'll have like lettuce, tomato, onions, pickles, and so forth. Are those condiments, folks? Is lettuce, onion, tomatoes, and pickles, are those condiments? The answer is no. Right into the camera. No. I will be the only person that will tell you the truth. Those are not condiments, folks. Those are called toppings. A condiment is something that you put on the burger, not that comes with the burger, okay? So toppings are things like tomatoes, lettuce, pickles, and onions. Those are probably the four most common. And but let's say you want some condiments. What are some condiments? And I'm going to discuss these as much as I can. I've already used up 4 minutes just getting to this. But ketchup is a condiment, mustard is a condiment, relish is a condiment, and mayonnaise is a condiment. Now, just for time's sake, I'm only going to talk about each one briefly. Only those four. There are other condiments, of course, but I'm going to start with my least favorite and go up to my most favorite, okay? And I love all those condiments. And by the way, I'm not talking about condoms. Do you understand that? Good. Because I'm not. Now, the one that I use the least, I would say, is mustard. Now, mustard is good, but it's too yellow. It's bright yellow, and I'm looking around for something. It's like as yellow as this backdrop. I'm holding it upside down at the moment. But there's mousse there. But the backdrop is what I want you to focus on. It's that yellow. You know, mustard is very yellow. And so if you're eating a hot dog or a hamburger or whatever it might be, and you spill the condiment onto your shirt, you've now just ruined your shirt. You ruined your shirt. So I don't use it that often. It tastes alright. Now, a variation of mustard that I happen to like is honey mustard, which has some honey in it. Doesn't really solve the whole slopping thing, but mustard has a very dill and kind of a tartary-like taste, and I don't really... Dijon mustard's good too, but that's, again, tartary and salty. And honey mustard's good, but I like mustard. Excuse me, my goodness. Now the other thing is relish. That's probably so I use mustard the least. The next one that I use is relish. Now relish is basically just pickles that have been mashed up and stirred around, and they have some stuff in them. Some extra sugar and some red peppers sometimes. And that's really all a relish is. Now some people say, well, if you have a pickle on your hamburger, why do you need relish? Well, it's just it's a little added flair. Relish. Now mayonnaise is the second most used condiment in my home. Now I love mayonnaise. Mayonnaise is probably the universal condiment. It's really it's a great thing. Like, I love it. It's great. You know, it's just it is pretty goddamn great. It really is. You can use it on anything. If you're making a BLT, if you're having a hot dog, you can put some mayonnaise on the bun. It's great. It's pretty universal. The people next to me are doing some construction, so I apologize about that. Now ketchup. Ketchup is a great idea for a condiment. It is so universal. People use it on fries, they use it on hamburgers, they use it on hot dogs, use it with grilled cheese, use it with other meat that you'd have at dinner like steak and pork and chicken. I mean, you can just use ketchup with anything, really. Some people use it for their eggs. It's very universal. It's a very universal condiment. People put it on their pasta, their salads, everything. I don't know why I'm so tired today. I'm sorry about that. It's rude to yawn on camera. I know that, but what can you do? So, now, the other thing that happens about ketchup that I feel pretty strongly about myself is that. And one more thing, too, as we wind down to the last couple of minutes here. Cheese. Now, this is often thought of as a condiment, and some people think that it's not. But I'm going to tell you the real story about cheese. Cheese can be a condiment, and it cannot be a condiment. Now, you're going to ask yourself, how is that? I'm going to tell you why. The reason why cheese is sometimes a condiment and sometimes it's not is because cheese is a condiment if it's on like poutine or french fries. It's a topping if it's on hamburgers or hot dogs or any other things. Now don't ask me why that is. That's just the way it is, folks. Cheese is, it's like, you know what I equate cheese to? It's like the letter Y. Sometimes it's a vowel, sometimes it's a consonant. Cheese, sometimes it's a condiment, and sometimes it's a topping. That's just the way that cheese goes, folks. It really is. Now, that's about all I have to say about condiments. So, I'm going to move to announcing my next topic. How's that? Ballpark food. And I'll announce the rest of the week tomorrow, but for now I want you to ruminate on that. Ballpark food. Very interesting subject. We're going to elaborate on that tomorrow. on the Daily Life. We'll see you back here right then. Have a great evening.